Hello, everybody, and welcome back. Maybe people who actually watched us before, and special hello for everybody who actually took a break from watching cats, dogs, some nonsense, fallouts, some stuff like that. And welcome back to our channel, As Real As You. And I was asked today to talk about one of my businesses. That business was originated back in 2008. It was the first online business in my history, actually. I used to have about 75 to 100 products, and name of the website was Pops River. Why? Just because I have it. It's all. Nobody knows why it was Pops River. It's kind of boring story. Quite frankly, the online business wasn't actually my idea. It came from the guy who I work for, and he was talking between the conversations always about online. That was back 2006, 2007, 2008. And one day I decided, why not? Let me try it. So I opened up online store, and I was selling mini split systems. If everybody knows that, if some people doesn't know what mini split system, it's a certain type of air conditioning which you mount on a wall. It's quiet, it's give you a perfect comfort, it's really energy efficient, and back then it was something really new for United States market. And people was looking at that product, majority of the people like UFO. But they were buying, and margins were great. So actually, on $50,000 in sales a month, I was probably making about $7,000 to $10,000 clean profit after shipping, after taxes, after everything. But that wasn't last for long. It was internal situation with the two guys who I used to work with. We got into the disagreement, and the next thing I know, I wake up in the morning, was no site is gone, and was no money in the bank account. Long story short, obviously I went to the police station, and it's a good information for everybody who going into the partnership, and open up the business just trusting each other. Don't do that. Even if it's your best friend, if your wife or husband or anybody who you're going to business, do not do anything until you guys going to have a plan of who is responsible for what. Everything is on the paper. Go to the attorney and sign the documents. Otherwise, it will be a problem. It will be a big issue. In my case, it was, trust factor. So I trust people, and in the end of the day, I ended up with no money and no site. One of the guys, he actually was authorized as a person who can sign the checks. So he went to the bank account, he took the money and disappeared. When I went to police station, they said, listen, that's civil matter, that's not criminal matter, because you're allowed to use your bank account. And they were right. So it took me 7 days, no sleep. And I'm not gonna comment how I managed to not sleep for almost 7 days. But I restored site as much as I could with no education, no knowledge. And guys, don't get me wrong, I'm 47. Back in 2008, I was a lot younger, but still I was really clueless about anything what has to do with the website or listings or anything. But I did what I could, and then I ran into my old friend. He's also from the same city when I was born. He's slightly younger, and he was running his own business, but his brother was just out of the college, and he was accountant. nice guy. I mean, nice, you can say that, nice. He was a very, very financially good guy. So, I mean, he knows everything about finances. So, the human skill, he was terrible. I mean, he was absolutely terrible, but I need somebody who can watch my back as a financial side. So, we launched the business again, and within a half a year, we moved from, if I remember, 3,000 square feet building, and that's a warehouse and offices, into 12,000. And in 3 years, the sales was slightly lower than $10 million a year. And we got bought out by one of the larger corporations. I mentioned this before. It's Wolseley. It's one of the largest corporations in the world. I mean, everybody knows Facebook, everybody knows Google, but nobody knows Wolseley. Wolseley is one of the largest, if not the largest one, wholesale company in the world. They own a lot of entities in the United States. One of the, you guys probably see it everywhere. It's called Ferguson. It's a plumbing supply house and heating supply house. So we got bought out by them. Nice cash out. Everybody's happy, and everybody move on with their lives. So that's the story of my first business. And as I said, it's pretty much boring. It was a tryout. Like, I have a good memories, but it's very few of them, and it does sound strange. Probably because my relationship with my partner. That was kind of complicated, always complicated. That's actually the reason why we sold it, because we couldn't get along, and that's another thing which I was trying to express. Make sure you're gonna realize it's no matter what, who you're gonna go into the business, it will be arguments, always going to be arguments. Even if you're best friends, be prepared to lose this friendship. That's what business does to people. Because I'm an entrepreneur, and I love what I do, and it's regardless. And as long as it has something to do with sales, I love it. I was told by multiple people I'm a pretty decent salesperson, and I think reason why, because all my life I sell myself. That's what very unique about, being business owner. You have to be a salesperson. You have to know how to sell yourself. I mean, you're lucky if you have money when you open up the business, but when you open up the business with no money, you need to sell yourself. You need to convince people your idea is good. You have no money, but it's gonna work, and that's what I've done multiple times. Well, my first business. Actually, it was quite a few funny things about my first business. When I pretty much restored the site, and I had to feed my family, and I had to make money, so I had to do what I had to do. So what I did, actually, I was working. I used to have 2 cell phones, and when people called in, and obviously, why would people call to some pubs, river, or back then actually it was different name. When I was working by myself, restoring the site, and I had to do what I had to do. It was quite a few funny things and situations, and you all have to be prepared for it, because if you want to run your own business and you start from ground zero, and you have to be very creative. Sometimes this creativity is going to be on the border with common sense, I would say. So what I used to do, I used to have 2 phones, 2 cell phones, 2 cell phone numbers, and I would pick up the phone, and it would be a customer. And why would customers call back then to the website? Obviously not to ask how's my life. They would call, ask where is my product. I paid money, and I still don't have the product. It was a common situation. In the majority of cases, the product was on the way. Certain cases, I was still waiting for a product, but I did update the website as a sheet with the tracking information, and it shows in transit, but the transit was actually my warehouse. That's the reality of the business. Nothing. What can you do? I mean, you can't do that with Amazon. So let's get back to the story about what I used to do. I would not recommend this to anybody, but it's a true story what I've done. When I was when people would call us, I would pick up the phone and call myself Fabio. So I would answer, thank you for calling, so on and so on. This is Fabio, how can I help you? And it was an unhappy customer, every second one, if not every first one. I mean, I didn't know what I'm doing back then. I was doing stuff, it's all. So I would pick up the phone and answer, my name is Fabio, how can I help you? And they were asking, where is my stuff? And I would blame warehouse manager or somebody. Obviously, I didn't have any of the managers. And people who actually run their businesses and open up their businesses with no money, they probably knew exactly what I'm talking about. So, and then they would ask, can I talk to your manager? I said, absolutely, no problem. I would put them on hold, transfer the call to my second cell phone. And I pick up the phone and I answer, good afternoon, good morning, depends on the day, or just hi, my name is Julio. How can I help you? And people would complain about Fabio, and I would calm them down. And I was doing that for some time. I would say probably for a couple of months. Not once actually, I got caught. So I survived. Then I partnered up with another guy, and like I said, he was a financial guy. He's a younger brother or friend of mine, and he doesn't really want to work because he didn't believe in business and that model of the business, online sales back then. But he was told by his dad, and his dad is a typical Russian Jewish guy from Belarus, very like demeanor person, and he said, "You gonna work with Victor, and this is it. Otherwise, I'm gonna kick you out." So he started working with me, and it was some good times and some bad times. But to run successful business, it took us a while. At the beginning, we were taking the orders over the phone because people back then still afraid to just click on a shopping cart. They want to make sure it's not a scam. It was a lot of scams. I mean, probably right now it's more, but back then it was unfiltered scams. So people would actually do some weird stuff. So we take the orders over the phone. We would go pick up the product. We would pack the product. We would ship the product. Pretty much we were doing everything, two of us. And then one day we decided we need a warehouse person. And we put the ad, I don't remember where I put the ad. Actually, it wasn't me, it was my partner. He put the ad, and suddenly often, a week later, the guy showed up. He was wearing the shorts, flip-flops, and some weird bag. I mean, as soon as he walked in the office, we knew he is our compadre. He came from the same post-Soviet Union place, and he did have the same name as me. His name was Victor. So he was our first employee, and he was the warehouse guy. But he was such a skinny. I mean, we were afraid he's gonna kill himself because he wasn't really short, but he was just, skinny. He was just a kid. So we were pretty much monitoring him in the warehouse, what he was doing, and make sure he's still alive. And soon we actually realized we need to move them from the warehouse, and we start adding new products to the site. So we asked him, hey, do you want to be a programmer? And he's like, well, what should I do? I'm like, do you know how to turn the computer on? He's like, yes. Do you know how to work in Excel? He's like, till some extent. Well, and we decide, well, you're the programmer. So he became a programmer. Actually, funny part, he is still a programmer, and he's really good programmer. He's working for a different company right now, and he's running the department. So he's stable. He's good. So, but when he walked in, we asked him about where he's from, and he was from Ukraine, and how long he is in the United States. And he said, yeah, I'm for 6 months, 6 or 7 months he was in the United States. And we asked him about work history, and he's like, well, I was working in New Jersey, making the toys with ex-cons in the factory. That's the first time actually I met the person who was working with ex-cons at the factory. And I'm not judging anybody, because FYI, it's for later conversation. I spent 2 weeks in jail as well, and it was a good experience. And I like people who I was over there. Not everybody, but actually I like people. I would not recommend to anybody to go over there, but it was a good experience. The kid was working at the toy factory, and then he was working for us. Then we decided to do the business plan, and we start work on it. And shortly we hired two more people for the office, and a couple more guys for the warehouse. Then we moved to the bigger facility, and it was really boring. It was. If you guys think running your own business, it's always fun and you're the big boss. No, you're still a boss. With that also comes one employee. And actually, the first time when I found out this stuff, I was really upset. Like, when you go to the kitchen, when everybody's eating, I wasn't paying attention until I was actually told. So when I would walk in the kitchen, the people would change the subject of the conversation. Actually, and I do consider myself as reasonable guy, but they don't wanna talk to me in front of me about some other stuff. Well, we're still talking about my first business, and I was trying to say a lot of good things about my first business. Actually, from outsider view, it was very successful business. Very successful. Within 3 years, we sold the business for very decent amount of money, and I'm talking about very decent amount of money. If you're average person, you would probably have enough money for the rest of your life. You're not gonna, travel all over the world, but to buy a house, put the money in some saving account, and that would be enough. But as insider and as the guy with the idea, because the idea was mine, I really hate this business. And it's hard to say since it was like my baby, but I did hate last 2 years of this business to the bottom of my heart. If I have any, I did. It was really complicated. And that's actually the reason why I'm saying this stuff, because you need to learn that if you have a partners. It was a huge disagreement between partner and I. And I'm not saying partner was a bad person. No, he wasn't. He was just different. He was just totally different mindset, totally different everything. And we were just fighting all day long, every day. It was bad. It was really, really bad. So just be prepared. Like my recommendation, don't have any partners, or if you want to have partners, don't have one. Have multiple partners, because it's gonna be a lot easier when you have 4, 5, 6 people. Just choose them very carefully. Everybody has to, be not same. Everybody needs to be different, but everyone needs to do their role and be a leader in their own. Like, I was a leader of the company. It's no questions about it. I'm the leader by nature. It started from the kindergarten when I was Well, here we go. That's my baby. That's the love of my life. She's running around on the first floor and she's looking for me. Where is my daddy? Where is my daddy? Yeah, I have 3 years old daughter. She will be 3 in March. So, and I love her. I love her to the bottom of my heart. She's gonna be here shortly. It's complicated. Running the business, it's no fun whatsoever. You always think about, what needs to be done next. You try to do the right stuff. Not always it's working this way. Sometimes you're making the mistakes. Actually, you make quite a few mistakes, but sometimes you make very big mistakes and very terrible mistakes. And I've done it. I've done my part. Still alive. But about the first business, like I said, it was successful, money-wise. Did I learn as the human, as a professional? Absolutely. Would I go back? Never.